How's it going? It's Charles Bodenston here in New York City. I just went through an incredible weekend, and it really got me to thinking about something that I talked about in my original video for my company, which was your gut feeling and why is it so important. Your gut feeling is literally everything. That's exactly what you want. That's what you believe in. That's trust. And I can go really deep right now. I can go extremely deep right now. And we can talk about someone called Simon Sinek. And he calls it the power of why. The power of why? Or something along those lines. He calls it start with why. Or something like that. I don't know. His name is Simon Sinek. He lives here in New York City. He did one of the top 5 or 10 TED Talks, most popular TED Talks ever. And no, he says start with why. That's what it's called. So his book is called Start with Why, and then he came out with Leaders Eat Last. And he's unbelievable how he explains start with why. Because that's your core desires. That's your core wants and needs and feelings. And the way that he explains it, which is incredible, he explains it from a business perspective of what companies use it, like Apple. They don't explain what they do. They explain why they do it. And that's how you should make decisions. So the way he says it is that the reptilian brain, the core brain that we have, and then everything else followed, grew on top of that, interacts differently than so he says the core brain is why, then it's how, and then it's what. So the core brain is why, then the how brain went on top, and then the what is on top of the how brain. And we have It's amazing. I highly recommend you go and check out his TED Talk. But he explains in there that we use terms like, it just feels right. I don't know. It just feels right. Like, why do we say things like that? Why can't we put how we feel into language instead of just using the term or the sentence, I don't know. It just feels right. So the way that he says it, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, but the core brain, the interior, the reptilian, the why, the one that actually started from our ancestors, we didn't have a capacity for language. So our capacity for language is recent. We never communicated really when we started until, I don't even know how old language is, but if humans are around 40,000 years old, or the Homo sapiens are 40,000 years old, then language is very recent, if you look at it that way. Homo sapiens, obviously, there's, I think, 6, 7, 8 different classes of, and listen, I'm not a scientist, so I don't want anyone to be like, oh, you said there's 6 or 7 different types of humans. Well, listen, I don't know. This is obviously based on Vsauce, which is a YouTube channel. Highly recommend checking that out. Vsauce, it's unbelievable. And we had no capacity for language. We didn't develop with language. So we just use core beliefs of it just feels right, when in fact the reptilian, the very center of our brain, because we can't actually, this is our gut feeling, this is our instinct, this is our, I don't know, it just doesn't, it feels right, or I don't know, I don't know why. It's like when people have that feeling of buying something, and they say, or dating, or marrying someone, or taking a job, or starting a business, or gaining a passion, or anything. That's the core. You can't start a business and sustain that business by just answering what. You need a why. Like, why are you starting this business? How can you portray this? Make sure that I'm still zoomed in. Maybe I should put it on my face. You need to know the why, because that's exactly what you're going to be conveying to the customer. That's how your company culture is going to be built. That's how your general sales and marketing and just image to the public is the why. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you making this product, this service? I'm a real estate broker. I own a real estate company. Why are you doing that? You know, I one was freedom. There's other things like the freedom, owning a business. But then I also saw the real estate market going in a different direction than was at the two previous companies I was at before. And that was my why. Why did you start the business? Why do you have such a passion for your business? And originally, people would ask why you started your business, and I would answer with the typical, I don't know, it just felt right. And then I had to put that it just felt right into language. Like, how do you put why you love someone or why you're fearful of something? That's actually a great topic, is fear. Why are we fearful? Unbelievable. I'm just becoming more self-aware by the day, and gut instinct is why you want to buy things, why you want to start businesses, why you fall in love, why you don't like. It's the positive, and then there's the negative. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. It just, hiring someone, I don't know, they look great on their resume, but it just doesn't feel right. That hire just doesn't feel right. Why do we say that? It's because that is the core. That is our gut. That is our ancestral brain just literally leading us. I know that they went to Harvard and they graduated with honors and they did 10 years of business school, or they're a doctorate, and you interview them and you're like, I don't know. Just doesn't feel right. And sure enough, you don't hire them, and someone who has less of a resume will come in and you'll say, this feels right. I don't know what it is, but that guy who graduated from York College of Pennsylvania that played Division II rugby, it just feels right. It's just the right choice. And I implore you I will give you examples, okay? When I used my gut instinct, make sure it doesn't focus on the football. The football, I mean rugby ball. The most glaring one, I gotta put my leg up. It's been a long day. The most glaring incident where I went with my gut feeling, there we go. The most glaring incident is I'm at a good firm. I'm getting paid decent out of college, and the financial crisis hits. It's early or late 2008, and they announced layoffs. And I don't know if I've told the story, but they announced layoffs at my company, Oppenheimer Funds, and I'll never forget this. They announced layoffs, and I'm like, oh, I guess we're not supposed to raise our hands. And I went into a senior vice president's office, and I went in and I just went, I know you just announced layoffs. I'd like to be on that list. And he goes, okay. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I want to be on that list. And he looks at me, he stands up, he closes the door, he comes back, sits back down at his seat, and he looks at me and he goes, what are you going to do, son? And I looked at him and I said, I have no idea, but it's not this. And the respect in his eyeballs when I said that was unbelievable. There's 8 million people who are losing their jobs. There's 4 million people who are in foreclosure, and I volunteered to be laid off. And my brother emails me and he goes, "Who did you talk to before making this decision?" In other words, you dumb ass. What are you doing? You dumb dodo. You're volunteering at the depths of the recession, or at least, yeah, it was at the height, because it's like Wachovia, Countrywide, they're all going under, Bank of America, and whatever, join Merrill Lynch. And it was like everything's imploding, and I volunteer to be laid off, and I get into real estate. You get into what? You get into real estate, and 4 million people don't have a house, or are in foreclosure, I should say. And 8 million people, more than that, just lost their job. And you're getting into real estate. It's an expensive purchase. No banks are lending, and they need a job. And there's too much inventory, and you get into real estate. But you know what? I went with my gut. I volunteered to be laid off. I went with my gut, and I said, listen, I'm going to try real estate. I'll see how it goes. There was nothing in my mind that was like, oh, this is definitely my calling. Well, you know what? If it wasn't, then I would go with my gut, and I would leave real estate. But you know what's funny is I did find my calling. So I then went with my gut, went with a small firm, then went with a gut, went with a large firm. And then when I was at the large firm, I was doing really well last year. And I went with my gut, again, my instinct. And I said, I can do a better job by myself, on my own. I can build a better brand. And oh, by the way, collect more money. And what did I do? I started it. What is the worst thing that can happen? I'm not married. I have no kids. I would fail. I would look like crap to the public. That's why people, I would say 80% of the people don't try something risky. That two reasons. One is it's going to be a blow to their ego. And the other is that, what is my family? What are my friends? What's social media? What are my colleagues going to think? What's the public going to say? Doing videos like this, no real estate agent in New York City consistently does a video every single day. And especially one that has absolutely nothing to do about real estate, which is this. So what are other realtors going to say? Other real estate agents, because I'm technically not a realtor. What are other real estate agents? What's my family going to say? Oh this is a big break. I'm not going to lie. It's a big break from the trend in the Botenstein family, okay? This isn't just like everybody in our family has a camera and talks into it and says all their advice that they believe in. But I didn't actually know why I did certain things, and this is why I implore people to become self-aware. I'm going to write that one down. That's a really good one. I implore you to become self-aware, because I went with my gut instinct, but I didn't know that at the time, and now I do. Almost 6 years later, after being in real estate, I'm figuring out, oh, I did it because of my gut instinct. So I implore you to go with your gut instinct. Break up with that person that may put you in an uncomfortable position. I'll tell you a story. I have a friend that came in this weekend, and she was going through some tough times with a relationship. She was in an engagement, and she called off the wedding, and it was such a bold and powerful move. And you know what's funny? She said that she has friends that, while they're walking down the aisle, said to themselves, this isn't right. What? This isn't right, as they're walking down the aisle. And I said that yesterday to some other group. I'm like, yeah, you got to hear this, that there's a lot of people that are getting married. And the girl yesterday who I was out with, my buddy's girlfriend, said, oh, I actually have a friend like that. She hates her husband. They've been married 2 years. 2 years. And she hates her husband. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, you know how many people want to go with their gut feeling and call off the wedding, break off the engagement? Oh, by the way, they bought a house together. Not the one that I was just talking about, but my friend who called off the wedding and broke off the engagement. They owned a house together. You know, easy it would have been for her to get into that marriage and just been unhappy. Well, listen, I can tell you, she went with her gut instinct, whether she knew it or not. And she said, regardless of what my family's going to say, regardless of how much money we spent on wedding planning and deposits, we're moving forward I'm moving forward with, and listen, you know what she said? Because she has literally went to hell and has come back, she is so powerful. She smile ear to ear smile. And I implore you, and I've said that multiple times in this video and other videos, but go with your gut instinct, because that's what you truly want. Break up with someone that you are not happy with, or make the phone call that you're fearful of making, or get into that relationship because it just feels right. Stop being a baby, or someone that just it's right. Hire that person or fire that person or start that business because it feels right. And I'm a living example. I didn't know, she didn't know either. My friend didn't know why she was breaking off the engagement. I didn't know why I was volunteering to be laid off in the depths of the recession. My risk appetite is obviously a lot more than most people, but I also didn't know why I went in and I started my own business. But it's because my gut was saying you should. And to be honest, there's a book out. It's called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And it's truly unbelievable. It really is. And one of them, there's 5 regrets of the dying, and it's by someone who was in hospice care. And I just don't want you to have a regret like the ones I was reading online. I'm going to buy the book. I have a lot of other books that I want to buy as well. And someone just walked by outside. Anyway, I'm Charles Botensten. I love doing these videos. It really, you know why I do the videos? One is you know what? I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to do a video on why I do the videos. And just to give you a little sneak peek, I do it because these resources at my age, my gender, my city isn't really out there. There's a lot of women's resources and men. It's like, go figure it out. But you know what? You're going to hit your head a lot of times, and that's what I've done. And essentially, I'm putting this out so other guys, other women, I don't care who you are, can get the resources of all the books that I've read, which is literally one every... This is my new one. This is by Jack Canfield. It's Pearls of Wisdom. Let's see if we can get a little zoom in on Pearls of Wisdom. I don't know. You can't. It's too thin. It's just the spine of the book cover. But anyway, follow me on Instagram. Subscribe to the videos. I make a new one every single day, every weekday, I should say. And give me topics. Give me comments. All right? So listen, you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon.